YouTube, Mose Knows fan, Nitty Gritty Niners fan, Wayne Breezie fan. What's going on, y'all? We are here. We are ready to do this live fantasy football mock draft. We are here to get you guys ready for your upcoming fantasy drafts. I got my bro Breezie in the building. Breezie, what's good with you, fam?
What's good, baby? You know what time it is. We about to get this fantasy mock draft on. I'm excited because we're going to show people 3 different perspectives on how we mock draft. So this is going to be pretty cool, how we draft. So it's going to be a really cool show.
It's going to be a really cool show. We got our family member and brother Smitty with us. We're getting everything set up in the background. Give us a couple minutes. Tune into this, and we'll be right back in 1 second.
Sorry, Mose couldn't be here, but he doing the Mrs. Mosley thing right now. You know, they're out doing. They're enjoying Valentine's Day is what I was trying to say.
I got you.
Y'all the worst.
You don't know nothing, you don't know nothing, you don't know nothing. Mose knows. You don't know nothing, you don't know nothing, but I know that. Mose knows. You don't know nothing, you don't know nothing, but I know that. Mose knows. You don't know nothing, you don't know nothing, but I know that. Mose knows. Mose know it all. Mose know it all. I guarantee real takes, ain't no faking that at all. If you don't know, you gon' know. Mose knows, tune into the show. 9 a game, nitty gritty, ready to go committee. Mose should be the CEO. 2 solid, 2 real, 2 100. I'ma keep it real when you don't. Just that real gold talk. 24 karat words. San Francisco 49er fam. Realest squad on the earth. The 5 God, number 5, taking us to 6. Young killer Trey Lance. New era, new season. Mose got you covered. Go ahead and subscribe. 2022 this year. Got a whole nother vibe. Mose know it all. Mose know it all. Mose know it all. Tune in for the vibe. You don't know nothing, you don't know nothing, you don't know nothing. You don't know nothing, you don't know nothing, but I know that. You don't know nothing, you don't know nothing, you don't know nothing. You don't know nothing, you don't know nothing, but I know that. Mose knows.
Mose knows. Mose knows.
Listen.
Mose knows.
Yo, shout out to the bro Lake City Fresh, man. That is an absolutely fire intro. I appreciate him for doing that. Appreciate my cousin who produced the track. I got him, got Lake City Fresh, made that combination, man. Woo! That was crazy, bro. Let's get right into it, man. If you're already here, fear to God, what's up? John V in the building. What's going on? We're not gonna waste no time, man. Let's bring our brother in, Smitty. The fantasy football show. What's going on, baby? How you doing today?
What's up, guys? Appreciate you having me on. And let's talk a little, not only NFL. I'm not just a fantasy guy. Everybody thinks so. This is the fantasy guy. I can't go near him. I can't go near him with NFL content or NFL news. I'm a news show. I'm a fantasy show. I do it all. So I'm here to talk not just fantasy. I'm here to talk. We'll trickle it out throughout the whole mock draft. I'm here to talk NFL news. It could be Niner related. It could be anything you want.
Let's keep it a buck, yo. You're a Niners fan, but you like Arizona Cardinals. But bro, you're a Niners fan.
I'm not I am an NFL analyst. And that comes first. That comes over the Cardinals. That comes over, and so what people I think get confused about is I'm such a big Trey Lance fan. I'm such a big fantasy football fan. I'm such a big NFL fan that people think, oh my God, this guy's got to be a Niner fan. He's Trey Lance's agent, but I'm just, Trey Lance has been my boy. I wanted the Niners to draft him. I was the one guy in the quad box, the Niners show with RSF 49ers, where we're literally arguing over what quarterback's going to be drafted. And from day one, it's been Trey Lance. Trey Lance is the monster. He is the king of the NFC. Everybody's going to laugh at that early on, or a lot of people are now getting on board. But Trey Lance is going to be absolute fire out of the gate. Can't wait.
Got you, bro. I just wanted to put that out there because I'm you know a lot about the 49ers. You know a lot about everybody, but I see that you're a Trey Lance fan. That's cool because I got favorite players on different teams. Like, I can't mention Tom Brady name because I'll get shot, but I can understand why you're a Trey Lance fan.
Yeah. Everyone calls me a closet Niner fan, and it doesn't fail. Like 10, 15 people in a live stream when we do the quad box shows, like, just become a Niner fan already. You're
honorary, bro.
It's never going to stop. But you know what? I love it. My Niner supporters are amazing, and it's going to be a big year. It's going to be a big year. Matt, look, what the Niners did last year with one hand tied behind their back and the other hand couldn't even throw, 12 yards down the field. Look what the Niners were capable of doing. What does anybody really think's going to happen now that you inject a monster rising star quarterback into this offense with an even better defense? Like, why is the writing not on the wall for people? I don't even understand it. It doesn't even make sense for me.
Dude, we talk about it all the time. I tell you what, man, Kevin Hart said it best. Y'all gonna learn today. I can tell you that right now. They're gonna learn today. They're gonna learn tomorrow, the day after that, and the next 15 years while Trey Lance is 49ers quarterback. They're gonna just keep learning. They're gonna have to accept it at some point.
I've got a tweet up that's pinned, and it's gonna remain pinned. And it says Trey Lance will win a Super Bowl within 2 years of starting.
Okay.
And it's got, it's got a bunch of negative, like, people just laughing throughout the whole thing. But it's pinned. It's staying up. It's not going anywhere. It'll stay up until it happens or doesn't happen. But yeah, that's why I'm called a Niner fan. Everyone just thinks that, but I'm not.
Your first pick better be Trey Lance. That's all I'm saying.
Are we doing a super flex?
Damn it, Smitty. God dang it. We're doing a regular PPR draft, Smitty.
In the first round. Okay.
He come up here with this new language. We doing super flex. Mose, I hate those. I've been in a draft where one of my friends, he'll do like dual quarterbacks in the lineup, and I always forget.
Yeah.
And so, Smitty, don't you recommend you draft the quarterbacks first over the other positions if you're doing a dual quarterback lineup? Because cats be having like Mahomes and Burrow. And I'll be like,
yeah, 2 QB leagues, you're taking a QB in round 1. You have to.
I'd be like, damn it. All right. So, Mose, why don't you let everybody know what we're doing? They know we're going to do a live fantasy draft, but they don't know that they're going to get a chance to participate. So, Mose, why don't you break this down for them, bro?
So, Smitty has been gracious enough to set us up with a sleeper mock draft. I will be in it. Breezie will be in it. Smitty will be in it. We will be talking as we go. But you, the fans, you guys watching, tuning into us right now, you will have the option to join in with us and participate in this mock draft. We're going to put the link up in the chat. I already have that copied.
Make sure you guys jump in first.
Oh, yeah. Wait. Don't jump in yet. It's 12 teams, right?
Yes.
Do we want to do some random who's going to go like
I can randomize it after we all join.
After we all jump in. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. All right, so I'm in. Do claim a team in the draft?
Yeah, claim a team. Just grab a spot.
It's not letting me.
Yeah, I'm hitting claim and nothing's happening.
Me too.
Okay, I thought it was just me.
I thought it was me. Flick sleeper.
Are you guys signed in? You might have to create an account.
Oh, it doesn't say that.
Yeah, it just takes us right to the link.
Nothing's clickable.
Okay, go to sleeper.com first and then create an account and then do that, and then it should be good to go.
All right, guys, go to everybody out there listening, go to sleeper.com, create an account real quick. I already got one. I just don't remember who the hell I am. So let's see if this computer, of course the computer doesn't remember who I am.
But yeah, I mean, look, there's so many different ways to draft. While you guys do that, I can just talk about super flex and non-super flex. I personally recommend
Mose Knows.
I personally recommend you doing
How about you, bro?
super flex if you've never done it before. Super flex is interesting, but somebody created it to give the value back to quarterback. Everybody's trying to mess with scoring. It's like, hey, let's make it PPR. Okay, everybody accepted PPRs in the early 2000s when that shift happened. And it was a tough shift for the industry to go from non-PPR to PPR. And then once everybody gets settled on that, somebody wants to make quarterbacks valuable again. So then they make super flex. Then somebody wants to make tight ends valuable. So they make tight end premium. And now you got everybody
What?
and their mother doing all these different, settings. And then people come to me and they're like, Smitty, I've got a league where quarterbacks score more on Wednesdays than they do Thursdays. And, and you're like, how am I supposed to support this, this kind of scoring format? But scoring formats are getting out of control. Keep it simple.
All right. I think I'm in.
All right. I see Breezy in the one spot, but we can randomize it if you guys want.
We'll randomize it. You want to randomize it after we get all 12 teams?
Yeah. Well, I'll hit the button and then you'll see it all jump around. And everybody
all right, guys, we waiting for Mose Knows to join. Once he joins,
there we go.
All right, and while we're doing that, we got a contribution for 49ers_throwback. He says, let me hear from Breezy and Mose. Go Niners!
How many rounds do you guys want to go?
What's the normal? Let's do a regular PPR.
Yeah.
Flex. Like not super flex, just a regular joint. You know what I'm saying? Yo, I'm in this league with John Chapman, yo.
Mm-hmm.
And I swear it's all offensive. Like it's just all offensive players. There's no defense, no nothing.
You guys might want to refresh your page just by going, to the URL and hit enter or whatever. And then that should give you, it's 11 rounds. We'll just do 11 rounds if that's cool.
That works.
Okay.
And that just refresh that page and it should update.
Whatever. Okay, I'm down. Did somebody make my pick? I feel like did the team pick for me?
No, the draft didn't start yet.
No. I'm talking about this other joint because I don't remember. Oh.
Yep. So you share that link that I gave you guys, everybody will be able to jump in and grab a spot. And
all right, guys, we're waiting on you. We gotta do the Foghorn for 49ers score throwback. It's something Jimmy couldn't do since Colin Kaepernick. He was talking about winning. Listen, we're gonna talk about that game on tomorrow night on Nitty Gritty Niners. We're gonna break down some film and things like that. But I thought the game overall was good. I thought the 49ers, the defense was definitely trying some stuff. I wasn't cool with all the all-out blitzes. They did it a lot. They didn't do it just once. But they were giving up fourth downs, and I was pissed. That was making me upset. But I thought the offense looked like they gelled. Didn't matter what quarterback you had in there or what offensive line that was in there. They was gelling. They was out there. They were moving the ball down the field. And I think Brock Purdy had a great 4-minute drill. You know what I'm saying? To seal that game. And I wanted Brock Purdy. I was mad. I was sitting at the restaurant like, let him score another touchdown. He's right there. Nah. 2 minutes, down the ball, game was over. So I think the 49ers had control. The best thing about that game was that the 49ers were in control. Even when they lost the lead, they were still in control. So I think that was really cool.
We already got Coach Cruz signed up in the draft, waiting.
Coach Cruz is in there.
Appreciate
all right.
Coach Cruz as we're waiting for more people to come.
Fernando, why don't you join, man?
Yeah, why don't he jump in?
Peachy, jump in.
I want to get your thoughts.
We got Brunel in here.
You've talked a lot recently about the meniscus and the injury to Zach Wilson. As an NFL analyst and somebody who is big in fantasy football, with it not being a complete ACL tear, eliminating him from the season altogether. What do you think are the prospects for the Jets offense when it comes to fantasy football? Do some of those players like an Elijah Moore or a Breece Hall, do they take a hit with the injury to Zach Wilson? Does their value increase? Talk about, what you see from that aspect.
Excuse me. I think look, here's the knee right here. Okay. So what happened was Breezy loves when I pull these props out. But here's the knee. What happened with Zach Wilson is he locked his knee, and his knee went like this.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can see what happens to that corner, that meniscus right there.
I see
but
it.
That meniscus will pinch. And a lot of times you'll tear an ACL. The ACL is on the back. The PCL is on the back. And it's a real, this keeps the joint real tight. So if you've got the knee joint like this and the ACL's in there, it's designed to be tight so that it doesn't move around, because without the ACL and the PCL, this top joint will literally grind down this meniscus. And that's why players eventually need a total knee replacement, is because the meniscus wears down bone on bone. You hear that term a lot.
I was going to say that.
So that's what the ACL and PCL and all the ligaments really are designed to do, is to keep that tight, so that when you bend down to do anything, you're not getting those micro movements that are just grinding away that meniscus. So when usually when an NFL player tears their ACL or tears an injury, it is bending this way, or it's bending this way. You can hyperextend it and do that, but usually it's this way or this way. Almost always when an NFL player tears their ACL, there's damage to all the other ligaments or meniscus or something as well. Because if you see, this is the MCL. This is how you typically tear your ACLs in football players, this way. You can see this MCL stretching. And so you tear the MCL, you tear this corner part of the meniscus, and then you snap the ACL in the back. Boom, like a rubber band. So he avoided snapping the ACL. It sounds like he avoided stretching the MCL or LCL, but he definitely pinched that meniscus, and that's where he got that damage. He also created a bone bruise on the two parts of the bone. Now, you hear people say 2 to 4 weeks. There's no way he's going to be back in 2 to 4 weeks. If he is, then, he's running the risk of I think, re-injury. The stability of his knee is not going to be quite there yet with the bone bruise, because the bone bruise is pretty serious. That can make it to where your knee's unstable, can lead to other injuries. Ultimately, I'll be honest, I like Mike White. I know a lot of people don't like Mike White, and Flacco would have probably even started and will probably start the first game if Zach Wilson's not able to go. I think maybe the Jets are doing that because they're afraid to create controversy. But if you guys remember last year, Mike White came in against the Bengals and just knifed them apart. And everybody's excited in New York, saying we might have our new quarterback. This Mike White guy might be the real deal. Then he came out and got injured, and then we never saw him again because Zach Wilson came back. This guy threw to the running back. He checks down like crazy. Mike White, I believe Michael Carter had 9 or 10 receptions in that game when Mike White was in there. So ultimately, Mike White would be better for Breece Hall. But having two options, and I don't consider Joe Flacco a long-term option, even if they used him, let's say, in week 1. Having two options is good for that team, because if, let's say, Zach Wilson fails, then Mike White's there to kind of step up. So ultimately, I'm not too worried about Breece Hall, to answer your question, not to be so long-winded about it. It's not great for the wide receivers to have a bunch of rotating going on at the quarterback spot. So maybe Garrett Wilson develops a little bit slower, but I think Elijah Moore is a real solid talent that can really be a sleeper. Him and Amon-Ra St. Brown are those two guys that, coming out of last year, they could end up being elite wide receiver 3s in fantasy, where you're drafting them as your third wide receiver, but they could produce way above those numbers. So I love Elijah Moore a lot.
Which of the rookie wide receivers do you feel like you're going to be high on? Because we're seeing some, like, I know the Packers got a couple. They got Watson and Dobbs. If you had to pick between one of those guys, who would you pick?
I like Dobbs a lot more than I like Watson right now, but he's definitely a little bit more the underdog. But there's nothing but goodness I'm seeing coming out of camp, and even during the game, I liked what I saw. Watson's no lock, I think. Like, it's not like he was kind of an underrated prospect anyway, and there was a lot of questions about him. He had a really good combine, he had really good film, but he came from obviously a small school, just like Trey. So you're gonna see a lot of people doubting Watson, and I don't think he holds any kind of like, okay, we have to give him this opportunity kind of draft capital for this team. I think whoever shines is going to get an opportunity, and Dubs has been shining. So I kind of like Dubs a little more than I like Watson. As far as rookies in general, I think, London's going to have a lot of upside, but we got to make sure he's healthy. Olave could be, utilized a ton as a rookie. Garrett Wilson could be utilized a ton. There are a lot of rookies that are exciting, but I don't think this rookie class has that Jefferson or Jamar Chase or anybody in it that's going to be even remotely close to that. This is like a wide receiver that I think at best can be, a second round, like low second round fantasy football wide receiver in time. I don't think we're going to get a monster or some kind of first round fantasy football wide receiver like we see getting drafted in the first round in 2022. Like there's no Jamar Chase or Jefferson. George Pickens is the guy I really think has the most upside and bang for the buck. And you can almost get him in some drafts at the tail end of your draft. And I firmly believe he's the number one wide receiver eventually on this Pittsburgh Steelers offense. I don't think it's Deontay. I like Claypool a little bit. I think he's an alpha, but he's always injured. I think Pickens is going to be the number one wide receiver. And I know people won't like that. It's going to not sit well with a lot of people because Deontay just got an extension. But Deontay was peppered with targets by Big Ben. That's not going to happen. And I think people are going to realize Deontay isn't quite as good as people think he is. And Pickens is going to come for the number one spot.
I agree with that 1,000%. I think he's even shown now, his ability to not only pick up the offense, but to excel with what they're asking him to do. And as long as he continues to do that and he continues to grow, I agree with you that he's going to slowly start to take, targets away from both Claypool and Deontay. So, yeah, that's something to see. We got 8 people in. We got 4 spots left. So if you're trying to jump in the draft, go ahead and make sure that you create an account at sleeper.com if you don't already have it. And then go ahead and click that link and jump on in. Breezy, what else you got?
I'm just sitting here going through the thing. I put the link inside the chat. I hope everybody was able to get it. I see my boy George wants to jump in. Hopefully he was able to get. He's watching on Twitch. So George, just click on that link. You should be good to go. I believe you have Sleeper. Yeah. So when I'm looking at wide receivers, obviously you got to look at one of the things I try to pay attention to is the quarterback and a couple of other things. But there's some guys I think Drake London might have a decent year. I know his quarterback situation is whatever it is, but they said that kid's out there balling. Now he did suffer injury. So I think he'll probably be, he's not going to probably play much in the rest of the preseason. But speaking of the Falcons, let's talk about who's your favorite tight end in this draft. I mean, I know a lot of people saying Travis Kelce still is that number one guy, but what are your thoughts on Kyle Pitts, man? Because he looks like he's about to be a monster.
Yeah, I mean, he's the best rookie tight end we've ever seen. And people came out disappointed last year because their expectation was he was going to come out and have 10 touchdowns on top of the yardage that he dropped. And, that's the concern, I think, for Kyle Pitts as well. The touchdown production be there. The yardage and the receptions should be. He's going to be a monster. He is a monster already. And he's the eventual number one overall tight end in fantasy football. If it doesn't happen this year because Kelsey's still, Kelce, he could be 2 or 3. He most certainly could be. It all depends on Ritter. He's either 4 or 5 because of his pure talent in a bad situation. But if Ritter looks as good as he did in this preseason game, and preseason's preseason, so we have to be careful, then maybe he can be an 8 to 10, 12 TD guy in 2022. But I think it's safer to grab him as a 4th round pick, late 4th round pick, maybe, and then hope that you get, that tight end production where you're drafting a Kelce or a guy like Andrews that can go at, bottom of 2 or top of round 3. But I'm never in the business of drafting a tight end in round 1. I don't care about the positional advantage. I'm all about getting the next breakout tight end. Guys like Dawson Knox, guys like Goddard and Philly. These guys give you so much
year this year too, bro.
Upside, for the cost of entry. It's like anything. It's like investing in a stock. If you can invest before it doubles, then you're gonna win out in your fantasy league. Every draft pick you take, I think the best advice I can give anybody is when you're on the clock, ask yourself who can outperform this pick where I'm picking them the most. And so many people they can't dumb it down to that because they get emotional. They see a name, they feel pressured. The pre-rank list says that this guy's the top guy, but the guy I like's 5 spots down. Am I going to get laughed at if I take him, And so there's a lot of pressure involved in what makes people make bad decisions. Like how many times have you drafted a guy, you're like, I should have picked him. And you're like, just pick the guy you believe is the best pick at each draft selection. That's called best player available. And so many people don't use it. So many people say, Smitty, I get asked this question about 400 times a week minimum. Who do I take? Do I go running back, wide receiver? Do I go running back? Do I go wide receiver? People ask me that all the time. And I say, You never walk in with a plan of attack like that, cemented in. You can have an idea of mock draft from this draft slot. I know that I do well wide receiver from it, but you never want to walk in with a plan of attack because flow of draft will unveil value. And if you take a position and not a player, you're going to leave value on the board.
Absolutely. We got 11 people in. We got one spot left. First come, first serve. We're going to get some more insight from Smitty. Listen, he's dropping gems. You guys should be taking notes. Again, one spot left. First come, first serve. Once we fill that spot, we'll get the draft started. We'll put it up on the big screen so everybody sees what happens. What's happening. Smitty, let me ask you this question. We hear in the NFL a lot of the time that, the running back position is becoming devalued. Even when we look around the league, there are maybe 2 or 3 top backs there. We have another crop of solid backs, but they're dealing with some injury issues. Is that same sentiment carry over into fantasy football? Is the running back position losing its value in fantasy football as it is with real football?
Everything's a cycle. Like I've been literally doing this professionally for 20 years. So I've seen every cycle come and go. And when Zeke Elliott came out, the running back had already died. Everybody had already put it in the ground, nailed the nails into the coffin. Running back's dead. And the workhorse running back's dead. And then the running backs start to emerge again. Now, you have an NFL where multiple backs make sense, and what drives that change a little bit is the draft capital, the investment. Now, when teams don't draft a running back in the first round because the shelf life is short, you end up getting more expendable running backs because the draft capital isn't commanding that you give them all the work. So that's kind of feeding into where you have a handful. There's still a good, JT, McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, Eckler, Dalvin Cook, Najee Harris, Joe Mixon, DeAndre Swift, now Nick Chubb, even though he does have, share carries, he's still getting starter volume. Barkley, there's still 12, 13 running backs that are workhorse getting all the volume pretty much, aside from getting spelled. So the running back's not dying, but the shelf life is definitely getting shorter. It used to be age 30. When you turn 30, it was like, hey, how old are you? I'm 30. Oh, this is your last year potentially as a good running back. If you're turning 30 during the year, you're a little bit safer. That used to be how it was. Now it's 26. If you're 26 years old and you're not 27 yet, you probably got the 1 year left. But if you're 27 years old before the season starts or turning 27, you're literally on borrowed time. That's just the nature of the position now. Look at Todd Gurley. Look at all these. Look at Christian McCaffrey. Look at every running back that sits atop the volume chain and just getting fed pure volume. They're overworked. And we had Eric Davis. You guys know Eric Davis, 49er great. Come on. And I've had a theory because there's no real, evidence that's hardcore to support why the changes happen, but that it's just a tougher, stronger game and that trickles down, right? And Eric Davis pretty much confirmed that it is a stronger, harder hitting NFL. You're getting more pounds of pressure every time you get hit and get jammed into the ground. And if you think about it from a running back perspective, you get the football, right? And you take it up the A gap. You get hit by a 300-pound lineman here. You get hit by a 300-pound lineman here. You're trying to stay on your feet. Your knees are getting, just completely decimated. And then they all shove you in the ground. 2 or 3 people jump on you. Thousands of pounds of pressure and hit every time you go to the ground. So, and with the game getting stronger, faster, and it goes all the way back to Pop Warner, where you're getting hit harder, stronger, faster, that all just adds up. And the running back position is the only position that takes that kind of abuse. So 26, 27, your knees are just different than they used to be at 26, 27. So it's the running back position is definitely, I think, injured in general. And I don't think it ever recovers back to where it used to be because of draft capital and because of shelf life. And that's just the nature of it. But there will always be teams that have workhorse running backs. And there will always be teams that have, a couple running backs that are cycling in and out. But yeah, I think most teams would want to have a workhorse if they could have one because of the consistency of it and the getting in a rhythm. I mean, even in the Niners, you guys rotate running backs historically, but not really mid-game. You know, you rotate them from game to game if there's an injury or whatever. But you guys want to run Eli Mitchell. You want him to be the main guy. The question is, how many games does he start?
Yeah, how long can he stay healthy? I mean, right now he's injured as well. You know, you mentioned that, but I also think it has something to do with you know, I don't think that the position is being devalued. I think it's more like I think the money, like the contract, like you're not even talking about that. So it's like, all right, yo, I draft you, whatever. I got 3 years, 4 years out of you. I'll on to the next one. If you're not producing, and then you factor in the age and the wear and tear as well. So what these coaches are doing, they're getting these young kids, they beating them down to the ground, and then they move on to the next one. I mean, that's just business, though.
Hey, I'm going to randomize the order right now. So everybody looking at the screen, I'm going to hit randomize. Here we go.
Got all 12. We're ready to go.
I'm going to hit randomize. Then I'm going to start the draft. It's a 30-second timer. So kind of get an idea who you want. I would take advantage of that little purple note icon with the plus sign and queue up some people so that when you're on the clock, you're not scrambling. You have at least a queue. Here we go. Randomization. Boom.
They will put me second to motherfucking last. Randomize that shit in one more time, yo. Damn.
There we go. Draft beginning. Let's go.
I'm always second to last. The fudge.
And 30 seconds goes quick, but this is
and I'm right
training.
Before you.
This is good training.
Fucking second
this
to
is
last.
good training for show. Mo, you on the clock?
I usually ask Miss Smitty to come in and start screaming in my ear while I'm drafting. That way when it comes to draft day, it's like cake. It's like a cakewalk.
You want it to be super authentic, right? You getting the simulation ready. I got you, bro.
Yeah,
I got
So we got Jonathan Taylor off the board. Okay, Smitty, since we have you up, Cooper Kupp comes off number 2. You're on the clock.
Smitty's going with first, Mose?
Right. What's your strategy here? You got the third slot.
Strategy.
Yeah, I go best player available.
Okay.
Always, and I think you
better take Christian McCaffrey, bro, because if not, we're gonna have some words.
The top three running back or top 3 wide receivers, I think, are just so valuable.
This
boy, TPR, not TPR.
You see how he be bullshitting? He said, "I'm gonna take the best player available," and then he, what do I do, Mose, on the show? I forgot what you call it.
Stipulation.
Then he added the stipulation of the wide receivers, and you took Peachy's guy. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Christian McCaffrey's all the way. Oh, the Peachy took Christian. I wouldn't have been surprised if he made it to 11.
So let me explain. If you're in PPR, half PPR, but especially PPR, which this draft is PPR, this guy is going to be a 15 to 18 TD guy. I think this year. I think he takes a huge step forward. You got people that sit here
already.
You got people that Debo, that's high. You got people that sit here and say that he's inconsistent. He was a rookie.
Yeah.
Jamar Chase was a rookie. He dropped the best rookie wide receiver season we've ever seen, and his quarterback hasn't even got into his full stride yet.
All right, Mose,
came back from an ACL tear. So people I get a lot of eyeball emojis and wows and such when I put Jamar Chase number 3 or 4 or 5. I like Najee here. I like a lot of other people players that a lot of other people don't. I'm not into Derrick Henry this year. I'm not into drafting Christian McCaffrey. These guys haven't showed. McCaffrey hasn't showed up for 2 years. So it's like, for me, it's a complete avoid.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I would. There's 2 running backs I'm never drafting again for the rest of my life. That's Christian McCaffrey. That's Saquon Barkley, and Alvin Kamara may be on the downcline too. So,
now Derrick Henry's an
I'm gonna add Zeke Elliott to that list. I'm never drafting Ezekiel Elliott.
Forgot about Zeke, bro.
Never.
Yeah, he's got more mileage than any relevant running back. I mean, his decline is inevitable. Could he look good for 4 straight weeks? Yeah. But are the odds? Look, this is the way I kind of like to paint the picture to people. Do I think McCaffrey could be the number 1 running back? Sure. Do I think Derrick Henry could be the number 1 running back? Sure. But it's like a roulette wheel, okay? When you walk up to a roulette wheel and you say, Smitty, what are the odds that Derrick Henry is going to stay healthy coming off a 2,000-yard season? This is last year, okay? He was my biggest avoid. Or at least sell by double-digit weeks. He got hurt. When somebody came to me and said, Smitty, what are the odds that Derrick Henry is going to stay healthy coming off a 2,000-yard season and a 400 carry season? The odds were very, very low.
I don't like Swift either, but
could you go to the roulette table, put $1,000 on number 4 and win? Sure. You know, and if I told you not to do it and you landed it, you would be like, you're wrong, Smitty. But it's all an odds game. And Derrick Henry has so much mileage. Do you guys know Zeke Elliott's got about like 1,600 carries roughly to his name? Do you know how many carries Derrick Henry has in just the last 2.5 seasons? Not his whole NFL career, the last 2.5 seasons. 920 plus carries in 2.5 seasons. That breaks you. So Derrick Henry may be a beast out the gate, but make sure you look to maybe trade him before even month 2.
Let's see where Peachy's gonna go with this. She got Christian McCaffrey. That's like he used to be the perfect PPR guy, right? He's gonna get the rushes and the catches, right? Let's see where she goes with this one. Who's gonna be the first to draft a quarterback? That's gonna be cool. I usually don't get quarterbacks around 4 or 5. I'm good. Oh, Peachy's time was up. She ended up with CeeDee Lamb. She's on auto pick. All right, Peachy.
This guy I'm about to pick wins leagues in 2022. This is potentially. You want my dark horse number 1 running back by the end of the season?
Williams, bro. Listen,
I know where you're going.
Smitty, do I know you or do I know you, bro? Like, I was hoping he would have came back around, bro. I was hoping.
Nah, he wasn't gonna make it back there with us again.
Yeah, Javonte Williams. Like, people keep talking Melvin Gordon this, Melvin Gordon that. Look, no one's holding back Javonte Williams.
I like
this
that
is the next
Keenan Allen
JT.
pickup.
He was the number 1 tackle breaking running back in the entire National Football League last year. He beat out Najee. He beat out every running back, JT, and he played halftime. And he did this in college. This is what wasn't like a 1-year thing. He came out of college as the most elusive tackle breaking monster prospect. And he did it in his rookie year playing halftime. Number 1 in the NFL, 31 broken tackles. This guy's going to absolutely explode and win leagues for people. He's the best second-round pick you could find in fantasy football 2022.
All right. Now, if Fashomo is not paying attention, they should be getting Saquon. But that's a crazy backfield. Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor with Josh Allen.
Especially if Saquon can stay healthy. But
if he can stay healthy, but he ain't on my draft board. No sirree, Bob. All right, for show, Mo. And this is why you put it on 30 seconds. All right. Oh, they got one with Mike Evans. Wow. Did they list Kyle Pitts? That's a good pickup.
This is quite a dilemma here.
Don't do it, Smitty. Please don't take my guy, bro.
Oh, man. This is tough. There's a lot of good talent here.
He's in a dilemma.
Please don't take my guy, Smitty.
There's a lot of good talent here. I'm gonna go with the guy that gets
Smitty. Okay.
AJ Brown's in for a big season.
I can dig it.
I think he is.
It's not who I had on my radar.
Okay, Peachy takes Barkley. All right.
Okay, that's smart. All right.
Now the guy that you have on your radar, you're a ways away, Breezie.
How do you know who's on my radar?
Yeah, but you got another like 4 picks before you go, so I'm afraid he's going to get taken if you're that worried about me taking him.
How do you know who's on my radar? With the freak?
No, I don't. I'm saying the guy that you have on your radar, you got a lot of picks to go.
Oh, okay. But I thought you knew who it was. I don't think anybody knows that. Maybe Mose might pick him before me because Mose knows how I think.
Hey,
no one else knows how I think.
What's this guy Tommy keeps saying in the chat that I'm spelling your name wrong? Where am I spelling Breezie anywhere? I haven't touched the keyboard.
It might be spelled wrong on some of the streams. I fixed it. It was spelled wrong.
Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about me. This isn't my stream.
Don't be coming at Smitty. But thank you, man.
Right.
I appreciate you for having my back, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? I appreciate it. Come on, Brunel. Don't do it to me. Mose, if you pick my player, bro, you getting fired.
I probably won't.
You probably won't, but okay. James Conner. I think he has a bad year this year.
Because my guy is here, and I know what you said. about this position, but I love this kid, yo. I absolutely love this kid. Give me Jay Herbo, yo.
Oh, about picking the quarterback early? Nah.
I know. I knew that wasn't your man because you said you wait till 4th or 5th round. So give me Jay Herbo.
That's how
Josh
I
off the board. Mahomes off the board. I'm gonna take Jay Herbo right here.
All right, so I'm about to pick my second wide receiver, and this dude gets catches. So I don't care who the quarterback is, doesn't really matter. He gets catches.
Herb, let me tell you something, Mo. Herbert's gonna win leagues, so congratulations. You got yourself a league winner right there. This guy's gonna be the NFL MVP. I hate to say this on a Niner geared show, but let me preface it first by saying that I think the Niners and the Rams are the top 2 teams in the NFC. So I think there's a really strong shot that the Niners make the Super Bowl in 2022. Okay, so let me start with that so I can get a little bit of flower action going on. But I think the Chargers win the Super Bowl. I think Justin Herbert with that improved defense is going to be living in the red zone. I think Justin Herbert's the NFL MVP. He was the number 2 fantasy quarterback for people that think that's crazy. He was the number 2 fantasy quarterback last year. So he's already right there. And he's going to take a big step forward. He's got an amazing arsenal of weaponry. And you sniped my Breece Hall pick, though, by the way. But I love the Herbert and Hall picks. Fantastic job there with those back-to-backs. I like that.
Thank you. That feels good coming from you. That feels good. Lets me know I'm on the right track. I see the Darren Waller pickup for Breezy. Offense is looking at. I like that. You got McLaurin, got Hill, Najee Harris, Darren Waller. Okay. And I think the addition of Javonte Adams in that offense, as long as Waller can stay healthy, is going to continue to open things up for him.
Exactly, bro. Exactly.
Now I want to see when this one guy comes off the board.
Ooh, I got another. I just
Peachy.
Oh, she jumped up for Trey. All right.
Peachy said, "Give me my young boy." I like it. All right, Smitty's on the clock. He's taking a look. If he goes where I think he might go, I want to ask him his thoughts on it. That's what I was going to ask you your thoughts on.
Who's going to throw the ball, bro?
So you went to DK. We all know the quarterback issues going up in Seattle. Also the offensive line issues. But DK is DK. I see you took him here. Talk to me about, what do you think DK's projection for this season is going to be after you take a look and make this pick?
Yeah, let's see here. Let's see. What am I going to do here?
It's getting rough, ain't it?
Yeah, the running backs stand out real quick.
Real quick, bro.
I want to piss some people off with this pick, but so I got to get a running back. Mitchell, and this isn't just because we're on a Niners show talking Niners. He is the most capable running back one in fantasy left. He will get volume. The question is, does he stay healthy? But you can cuff him pretty easily. And like I said earlier, Shanahan usually sticks with one guy in the game, even though the rotation can happen from game to game if there's injury. But we all know that I think Shanahan's found his running back. I think he wants Mitchell to be out there full time. And I'm not worried about the injury right now. They're just resting him. I think between Javonte Williams and Mitchell, I will have 2 potential top 10 running backs. It's just a matter of how many games Mitchell plays. As far as the DK Metcalf, look, he's a 2nd to 3rd round pick if Russell Wilson's still in Seattle. So for DK to fall to 4.10 or 5.5 or 5.4, we're pretty much past the point of even having a discussion about, well, what are you worried about? What are you worried about? His quarterback play? Yeah, that's why he's fallen to the 4 or 5 turn in fantasy football drafts. Like, we no longer even need to have the discussion as to, are we worried about DK's quarterback play? He's fallen to literally your 4th or 5th drafted player, and he has wide receiver 1 potential, even if it's on the lower end. So every one of these picks for me is like, can their ceiling be way above what I'm investing? Like, do I feel, and this is the way you should ask yourself this question every time you make a pick, do I feel like in a worst case scenario, the player is going to earn their value right here? Mitchell,
Okay.
worst case scenario, probably earns that value. In a best case scenario, he plays like a second round pick. DK Metcalf, worst case scenario, earns that value. If Geno Smith looks better than people give him credit for, and he did in the preseason game, and these two do have a rapport together and they do well together, and DK Metcalf in this studio that I'm in right now, you could throw the ball anywhere in the studio. His catch radius is so big that he can get it anywhere. He's the one wide receiver I'm not really worried about as much if in a bad spot. Some wide receivers can crumble, fall away, never do anything if they're the kind of wide receiver that needs a good, football thrown to him on a specific route that they run. This guy DK can go up and get anything. So feel pretty good about the wide receiver stable. Feel really, really good about the running back stable, considering I waited so long to get my running back too.
Yeah, I'm going through the running back phase right now. Being that this is a PPR league, there's a guy that doesn't get a lot of talk. I'm gonna go ahead and draft this kid out of New England. Give me Damian Harris.
Okay.
Solid pick, gets touchdowns, catches out of the backfield. I know they still use James White for that, but I think they got Ramondre Stevenson, so I think he may be entering that James White role as his career kind of starts to wind down. So give me Damian Harris. Now it's about to get interesting.
I'm gonna follow my first mind.
Okay, I can dig it.
I'm gonna follow my first mind and go Javonte.
He gonna be no more double coverage.
Correct.
He gonna be beating man to man. All right, I can dig it.
Correct.
I can.
He has the speed, and with everybody focusing on AJ Brown in that offense now, Dallas Goedert as a tight end is going to be, working the middle of the field. I can see Javonte also having a big year. Love the Burrow pick, by the way, Breezy. Love the Burrow pick.
Appreciate it, man.
I didn't think Burrow would fall back to me, but he is typically, depending on the draft app that you're drafting on. This is another key thing. Like, it is so vital to understand that the pre-rank list is going to guide so much. Pre-rank list, because think about it, especially when you get this late, and you get this late, most people start getting a little more lost with the names, right? Naturally, especially when you're drafting with people that haven't been embedded in fantasy football content all year. They're just getting back into it. They're going to go off the guidance of the pre-rank list. So it can screw up a lot or it can help a lot. Let's see. I'm going to go.
Okay. Okay. I could dig it.
Yeah. I almost waited because I don't know if I figured Rev would probably take a QB, but I know that team one won't take a QB because they already have a QB. So I really could have waited and got Brady or Wilson, but I really want Brady. Wilson. I really worry about Brady right now. Like, what's Brady doing? That maybe there's a family issue, and if there's like somebody like,
and
right now, then he needs to take the time. I get it, but the report was that it wasn't related to that. That it was. And that could be a wrong report. So if it is, then prayers up for Brady and whoever might be sick or whatever. But it sounded like it was being reported that it was just a work-life balance. And he was, I don't know if this is Giselle making him do this, but it's August, guys. It's August right now. What's he doing taking time off?
I mean, he's Brady. He could take time off.
Yeah, but his team can't. His team's not Brady. It takes a lot of... There's a lot of
now wait, did the time off come after the Jensen injury?
I
think
it's
supposedly planned, and it just happened that he just took it off. Who do I take here? I want to take AJ Dillon because I'm kind of a little light at the
Bruiser back.
Okay.
Well, a little light in the running back room, so that makes me feel a little bit better.
Thielen off the board. Okay.
Old man Thielen. Let's see what 49 are alive.
You know what I'm saying, though, guys? Like, let me ask you this question. Would 3 years ago, Brady 3 years ago have taken off any time in August for work, for going to Six Flags or something like that?
Absolutely not.
No.
So everyone's saying he's Brady. He'll be fine. It takes more than a quarterback to win a game. And if he's got Julio Jones, Russell Gage, who's been injured, he's got more than half his wide receiver room. If you look at it from that perspective, needing to build rapport and I mean, imagine taking like, what if I just took Trey Lance for a week and a half, 2 weeks on a cruise right now? You guys okay with that?
Absolutely not.
So I mean, everyone keeps
Trey Lance is not Tom Brady. So
what?
It's not Tom Brady.
Yeah, but Breezy, the whole team has to jive. It's not just Tom. Tom Brady doesn't go out there and throw to himself. So if he leaves, yeah, maybe he's okay. But you don't think there's going to be chaos on the field where people are in the wrong place?
Nope.
He's getting absolutely leveled.
Nope.
I think that he's also at a. This to me feels like the year we might see the drop off. Breezy, it happens to everybody.
Absolutely.
I know, you know what I'm saying? Does. I just feel like everyone says it's Tom Brady, but Tom Brady barely came back, and I think he knows that he's on that verge of potential decline. You know,
I tell you what, I won't believe it until I see it. So you can you can say anything you want until I see it, and it ain't happening. And that was, that was the same way I was about Peyton Manning. I didn't believe it until I started seeing him throw the ball into the ground. It's like, oh snap! Like it's really declining.
Well, I guess
wide receiver 3-time. Elijah Moore.
I like
this other guy.
Yeah, I'm after I make my next pick, I got a question for Smitty because
Elijah Moore.
Okay, so I took before this Dawson Knox pick because I needed a tight end. I took Juju Smith-Schuster, but for me it was a toss up between Juju and Hunter Renfrow. Now I feel like Renfrow is still going to get his targets, but obviously the connection that Derek Carr has with Davante Adams supersedes that. I feel like I know Kelsey is kind of the same with Mahomes, but Mahomes is going to have to find another receiver one that he can go to because Tyreek's not there. So in my mind, maybe I'm overthinking it. You can tell me if I am or not. I'm thinking that it may be more advantageous to take Juju here because he may develop into Mahomes' number one option from a receiver perspective. What are your thoughts on a choice between somebody like Juju versus a Hunter Renfrow, even though they're two different style of wide receiver?
I'm not like thrilled about either one of them. So, I don't know what other wide receivers you were contemplating. Like I would rather have Mooney as an example, or maybe Hopkins and then draft another receiver to take his place until he gets up to gets back and up to speed. But I mean, let me make this pick real quick. I'm going to go with Clyde. I think Clyde in the 8th round, almost 9th round, has all the risk baked in, and I still think he's got an option. This guy played, I think he had his gallbladder removed last year. He played at 160 pounds instead of 209. Can you imagine playing at a 160? He had a bad hand dealt to him last year. So I think he's a decent grab here. Juju has a shot. Someone's going to catch passes. I think Clyde could be one of them. Clyde's the veteran running back here. They like Pacheco a lot, but Clyde's probably the guy. And as long as he stays healthy, which is the big question, he will pull on a lot of passes. I think Sky Moore is the guy by midseason on that will probably be the number one option for Mahomes. But Juju looks like the lead candidate. And if Juju can keep his head on straight, stop the tick-tocking, which I think he's totally committed not to doing. It's probably tempting, though, with Patrick Mahomes' brother there.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Jackson is probably going to have him revert to old tendencies.
Yeah, they might be doing some collabs, but let's see here.
Where's Smitty going? His team is stacked, though. I like it.
I'm going to go with Ramondre. I'm just stacking the running backs. This guy could be a starter, week 1 starter. Ramondre, monster. But Juju's probably going to be the lead guy at first, and he's got a real opportunity. We'll see what he does with it. I mean, he's looked good so far, I'll admit. So definitely feel like it's a possibility that we see Juju take off with this number one role and never let it go. But Sky Moore has a lot of upside. I like Sky Moore probably the most by the time I'm going to need him. I'm not drafting Juju to start for my team as a wide receiver 3. So for me, I'd rather take the guy I think will be there, down the road as the number 1.
Got you.
But trust your gut because Juju's got a lot of upside. Pretty much preference at that point, like there's no right or wrong answers when we get this deep. It's just more about who's got the better odds of maybe delivering past their investment point. But yeah, these are a lot of good teams. I mean, team number 1, Josh Allen, Evans, DJ Moore, Jacobs. My advice for that team would be to focus a little more on the running backs. Not that you're drafting a position, like I always say, draft a player, but I think DJ Moore maybe isn't good enough. Let's see, let me scroll up. Oh, I'm sorry, Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, Jacobs. You have Jacobs, Josh Allen.
He got some backs.
DJ Moore. DJ Moore's okay there. But I'm not a big fan of Jacobs. Jacobs could get replaced by even midseason. And there's talk about trading him. Zamir White's looking good. Amir Abdullah was just announced to be the James White role by a few reports in that offense. So you're already looking at all the PPR work being removed from Jacobs. So this team having no other running backs, it could be in trouble at that running back 2 spot. But I love the JT pick. I love the Allen pick. Evans is a great pick. DJ Moore's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I would have probably focused on a running back there. Past that, it's a great team. Hollywood Brown, that's a steal at 7.1. So I think that team's like borderline top 6, even with the running back concerns. Team number 2, Kupp, Allen, Pitts, Monty, Gibson. I worry about this team's running backs because Gibson might have his job. He might have lost his job already. Robinson, the rookie running back, already is looking like the goal line back already out the gate. And Gibson fumbled in the preseason game. He's had struggled with fumbles his whole career. And it's a crowded running back room. Monty is being sent to special teams on occasion. Not saying his job is gone, but what's that about? That scares me for Monty owners. So to have both those running backs together, just a concern. I would go with Khalil Herbert as a handcuff. He could be the starter by midseason. I really believe that about Khalil Herbert. He's a really good running back. Peachy's got McCaffrey, Lamb, Barkley, Lance, Cooks, Goddard, Woods. Very good team. The only thing I would have done is waited a little bit on Trey Lance, but it's still a really good squad. I'll let you guys go before I continue. I don't want to take up the whole show talking.
No, it's good. Listen, this is good insight. Love to hear it. Actually listening to you, that's why I drafted Khalil Herbert just now, and got him on my team. I mean, I got 4 running backs. I think I should be good on from the running back perspective at this point.
I got 3 backs, 3 receivers, 2 tight ends.
Yeah, we can keep going down the line. Smitty, give me your thoughts on Peachy's lineup.
He already did.
Oh, all right. What in
1992
Niners?
Yeah. So let's see. Cook, Kamara, Fournette, Elliott. Man, little too running back focused for me because the advantages of Fournette and Elliott by going running back, they don't like really. They're not glaring to me enough to pass on the wide receivers when you compare them with 2 really good Cook and Kamara picks. You know what I mean? Like I'd rather have those wide receivers with it than try and get lucky downstream at wide receiver. Now I'm in a little bit of a bind here because I didn't expect Breezie.
What did I do?
To take Freiermuth because everybody had a tight end.
Oh yeah, my bad.
No, that's good.
Because you went double.
It was
double tight ends.
Yeah, it was between him and Komet. So it like I think both of them dudes gonna have a season.
Peachy sniped me on Gesicki because I think because I sniped Jamar Chase from her, right?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, that makes sense. Touche.
Straight up.
But so 1992, Fournette and Elliott, I don't think were needed here when you could have got potentially, AJ Brown and a player like Waddle. I would like if team team number 1.5 had Cook, Kamara, and then AJ Brown and Waddle, it would have been far more dangerous, or at least one of those wide receivers there. I love the Kyler Murray pick. I love the Hopkins pick. Very good squad.
Nobody's gonna pick my last pick, so I'm just gonna go ahead and.
Oh, come on, dude.
Oh, you got all the way to the end of the draft before you let it auto pick. All right, Smitty, where you going with this? Looking at your squad, you got Chase, you got Brown, Williams, Mitchell, Wilson. Okay. All right.
I did like Madison. I was looking at Madison. Let's go another running back. Why not? Because I'm kind of showcasing some of these breakouts. Tyler Algier could win leagues for people. This guy's going to potentially get in there and be the starter for the Falcons. They want Cordero Patterson back at wide receiver. So that would leave Algier eventually the starter in Atlanta. And I think this Atlanta team's going to look pretty good under Ritter. I think it's going to look better than people expect. Not great, but better than people expect. And Ritter will be in there soon enough. Team 1.6, JJ, Mark Andrews, Higgins, Lamar, Mike Williams, Kenneth Walker, Pollard. It's a pretty good team. You know, nothing really out of place. Yeah, I think it's not a bad team. Team number 1.7, Eckler, Kelsey, Mahomes, Judy, J.K. Dobbins, Mike Thomas. There's some talent there. I love the Amon-Ra St. Brown pick. That's a steal at 7.7. Probably one of the bigger steals of the middle rounds. I mean, this guy, Amon-Ra St. Brown was the number 2 wide receiver from week 13 to week 18. And it wasn't like he had a couple big games that did every week. Week 13, week 14, week 15, week 16, week 17, week 18. He was a top 4 wide receiver, I believe, in every single one of those weeks, not just 1 or 2 big weeks. Top 4, top 5 wide receiver in every single one of those weeks. So
you said you've been saying something tonight where, you know, guys are going to win leagues. Amon-Ra St. Brown helped me win my league last year.
Absolutely, he did. Yeah, I don't doubt it. I mean, he was literally top 5. You know, for weeks 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 6 weeks. That's a big sample of games. I'm not saying to extrapolate that and say he's a top 5 wide receiver, but when you have that kind of data, that kind of consistency, if you're going to do any extrapolating, it's going to at least tell you he's got top 12 wide receiver potential. So he's he's a legitimate argument for a fantasy football wide receiver 1. Like what wide receiver 1 aside from like maybe Mike Thomas, if he was the rebound, which I don't believe until I see it, like Breezie said earlier with Tom Brady, the reverse of that. I'm not buying into anything Mike Thomas is selling to me until I see him do it. So someone else is going to experiment with that. I don't care how many reports are about him catching a football in practice. Like I need to see him out there cutting and doing that. That injury to his, I believe it was the deltoid ligament in the ankle. It's responsible for holding. Hold on, Breezy. Where's my foot? Where's my foot? There we go.
Got the knee and not a foot.
Yeah, I mean it's responsible for these 2 bones right here. The ligament that he injured is responsible for almost essentially holding those 2 together. So when you step, it feels like they're going to separate. That's what a lot of high ankle sprains are, and so it creates no explosion. And for a guy that has a nickname Slant Boy. You know, he needs to step off and explode. We'll see. We'll see what he's able to do. But let's see what team was I on?
1-8 now.
1-8. Debo a little early. He's kind of traditionally a 13 to 18 or 20. Like in a normal draft, you probably could have got Debo at 2.5.
Right.
So you could have drafted, you know, another player like Najee Harris and got Debo. I would rather have Najee Harris and Debo than Debo and Chubb, but it's arguable. So I don't think it ended up being a huge mistake. But Kittle, this is an all-Niner team, right? Kittle and Debo, but they're on a high-powered offense, so you should be okay. Waddle, Miles Sanders is a little early. He even said, "Don't draft me in fantasy," not because he's annoyed by fantasy.
Another running back I wouldn't draft either.
Yeah, he said it himself. Don't draft me. You're going to get 2 points 1 week and 7 points the next and 15 points the next and 2 points the next. They aren't like sold on using him consistently. And he just kind of smells a little disappointing. Jalen Hurts, 6.5. That's a steal. This guy, I love that people doubt Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts and Lance are almost one and the same. Like these guys got cannons, and people act like they're gadget quarterbacks that run. They both can throw for 300 or 400 yards if they needed to. They both have an enormous amount of weapons. They both are going to be in offenses that, let's say they do struggle as a team, then they're going to throw more. And if they don't struggle as a team, they're going to score a lot of points. Jalen Hurts could run for 1,000 yards in any given season. You know, Trey may run for 600 to 800, but Jalen can run for 800 to 1,000 and score 10 touchdowns on the ground. People call Lamar Jackson, I think they mislabel Lamar Jackson as an extra running back on your team when he's a good passer and an elite running back that ultimately makes him an elite quarterback. But Jalen Hurts is actually a running back, an elite running back, and he still can be an elite passer on top of that. So he's going to be the true definition, and Trey kind of too, of being an elite at both, you know. So it is actually like having an extra running back. So I love that Jalen Hurts picked. He could be the number 4, number 3, number 4, number 5 quarterback in fantasy football, and so could Trey. So where were we at? Okay, so I like that.
Russell Gage, and then he got, who's that at the bottom?
1.9.
Yeah. Oh, Christian Watson.
1.9 pick, Dig Swift.
Okay,
love Swift. I know. I think Breezie said he didn't love Swift, or somebody said they didn't love Swift. Swift could be a top 5.
That was me. I don't like him.
Could be a top 5 overall player. Really,
it depends on how they use him. They. I guess he started to come along later on in the end of the season, but nah, he just wasn't.
Interesting you say that, Breezy, because you know why he didn't come along until midseason?
Why? Why is
Anthony Lynn.
Okay.
Anthony Lynn was calling Jamal Williams his A back and calling Swift his B back up until midseason. And they stripped Anthony Lynn's play calling duties from him and started using Swift. And you know, essentially, I think Anthony Lynn's not it. And I know that a lot of Niner fans are going to be upset hearing that, and I could be wrong. But the one thing about Shanahan is that he's probably got a specific skill set that Anthony Lynn has that he's going to allow him to deploy, and then not even give him like keys to the office. You know, like I'd be shocked if he gave Lynn an iPad, you know? So Shanahan's going to restrict everybody. He controls everything. So maybe Shanahan does get the most out of Lynn with what Lynn's good at, but Lynn was awful for that offense and literally destroyed the value of Swift early on. So you're right. Swift did actually turn it on later. But to not understand that Swift was the number 1 running back in this offense was head scratching to me. And it gave me a lot of pause with Swift last year because he kept talking about Jamal Williams. So I apologize for the Niner fans to hear that, but maybe Shanahan has his, I don't think he can destroy anything, if that makes anybody feel better, because Shanahan won't allow him. Shanahan controls everything, but I don't think he's this gem of a find that everybody's talking about. Anthony Lynn. I mean, I love Niner fans because they're ultimately positive about everything going on inside the organization. So that's kind of where that comes from. But we'll see. What is to be debated whether he can, add any value. I don't think he'll get in the way, but I don't know if he'll be as much of a added value as people think. Do you guys feel differently about Lynn, or do you not know?
I mean, I think I like, from what I know about Lynn. I mean, he helps produce running backs, but it's got to be a certain type of back. I just don't think Swift was that guy, and that's why Swift was who he was. He didn't coach him right because that wasn't a guy he liked. For me, like Swift, and we'll see, because he's good out of the backfield, and the 49er fans know, because he was the sole reason why they came back in that game. It was Swift. So you could blame that on Anthony Lynn, and you could not blame it on Anthony Lynn, but either way, Swift was the star in that game. So if Anthony Lynn was coaching, he was part of that. But they were throwing it to him, he was making plays. I'm just not sold on him. It's just something about Swift that there's a bunch of other running backs that I would prefer or draft over Swift. But you could be right. He could be a top valued running back in this league, especially if he's utilized properly in that offense.
Yeah, I think he's a steal in the second round of fantasy drafts. He typically doesn't fall, so this was surprising to see him there at 2.4. He's been going around 1.7 to 1.10, and that might, be alarming to anybody that doesn't like him that much or is worried about him. So I can understand that, but I think at this value, this would be crazy good as your second drafted player. I like Swift. I personally would draft Swift over Derrick Henry. I know it's going to shock you. I would take him over Dalvin Cook. I'd take him over Joe Mixon, even though I do like Mixon this year.
I like Mixon, bro.
I'd take him over Dalvin Cook, like I said.
But he stays injured too.
And I would rather have Swift over. I know it's going to shock people, but it's the nature of, like, you got to understand what I do is different than I think what other people do when they analyze this, especially if I go into a community where, you know, it's more team based than it is fantasy based or something. I'm supposed to be ahead of the curve, you know, whether I'm right or wrong, I'm supposed to be ahead. And it's always a lonely place when you're literally at the edge trying to look around the corner to see what's coming. And everybody's behind waiting to see what you came up with. You're the scout. You're the scout person going ahead. You're always going to be more lonely than you are sitting in a bunch of people that are like, yeah, it's a great, you know, that's the way it is. I'd rather have Swift than CMC. I'm not saying I would draft Swift at number 3 where CMC goes. I'm saying give me a trade down. Like if I could trade my number 2 overall pick where someone's drafting CMC, or even the number 1 to get somebody's 12 and 13 back-to-back picks, and then I give them like my 6th or 7th rounder down way, I'd take that in a heartbeat, because you could give me Swift and Debo. You could give me Swift and CeeDee Lamb. You know, you could give me Javonte and Swift versus just the one player. So trading down's a good move this year. What team are we at? We're at the.
You're at.
We on my team now.
Okay, here we go. So Derrick Henry, beast per start. We'll see how well he stays, how long he stays on the field. Tennessee got rid of AJ Brown, which was one of the stupidest moves I've seen a team do this offseason or in the last handful of years. Even though he didn't want to be there eventually, it's because they wouldn't extend him. They wouldn't offer money. He had initially wanted to stay, but they kept lowballing him, just like a lot of these wide receivers, these 4 wide receivers, they all kind of are the same wide receiver, McLaurin. And to trade him away when this team was the number 1 seed last year, they got a lot of upside. Burks isn't it. I liked Burks a lot coming out of college, but right now he seems like he's not going to be ready. He's not it right now. He could eventually be. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know how. And then they draft Malik Willis and not even tell Tannehill about it. Tannehill's pissed about it. Malik Willis was a steal. He kept falling, and I couldn't believe it. I thought the Pittsburgh Steelers should have grabbed him at 20 in the draft, but everybody kept passing on him. They draft this kid without talking to him. They pull an Aaron Rodgers, love. And the problem is Tannehill's not that great of a quarterback. He's looked a lot better than he really is, because AJ Brown's been on that team. So you trade away AJ Brown, you draft a quarterback, creating all this controversy. You're going to have to run the ball. You're going to have to run Henry into the ground, and that's the concern. Henry needs 27 to 29 to 30 carries in order to be Derrick Henry. And the double-edged sword is that if you give him 29, 30, 31 carries a game, he'll break. And Henry can't do it off 15 carries. He's not that kind of running back. His yards per carry were actually dropping, even though he had such a productive year per start last year. His yards per carry and efficiency have been dropping because the mileage is adding up. And you get a touch slower, and you need more volume to account for that. And so I worry about Derrick Henry getting hurt, but per start out the gate, he could be a monster, but he's going to face a lot more 8-man fronts now. And that's going to add to the abuse and wear down, because now teams are going to be like, make us, beat us through the air. You have no AJ Brown. Aaron Jones could catch 80, 90 passes this year if he stays healthy. So that could be a really good pick at the end of the day, but he has to stay healthy. Herbert is a league winner at 3.10. Breece Hall could be a league winner at 4.3. Breece Hall could be a top 5 to 10 running back. And I know people are going to say the Jets are the Jets. The Jets aren't going to do it. Look, this guy checks every box. He had one of the best combines in the history of the combine. He had some of the best film I've seen in the last 5, 6, 7 years. He's going to do well. He's going to do really well. And they already consider him the number 1 running back. Sutton, I like that pick. Smith, Juju. It's a good team. I'd definitely say Dawson Knox I love a lot. I'd say if Henry stays healthy, you're in the top 5. If Henry doesn't, then you wouldn't be. So it's all going to rely on him. Najee Harris, Tyreek Hill, McLaurin, Waller, Burrow. I feel like Breezie might have looked at some of my rankings before he did this draft. And then he put sniping a lot of my guys. Look,
so you think I don't be watching your stuff, man? Listen, I told you, listen, you're a guru. So I watch, I learn, I listen. Keep
The
going.
number one, I'm going to do a video on this for everybody watching. I'm going to come out and I did this with Todd Gurley. The year Todd Gurley declined, I came out and said, guys, this is, I think, the first year I did my YouTube channel. Todd Gurley is going to fall off the face of the earth. And everyone's like, he's the number one running back. What are you talking about? He's the 1.1 in fantasy. He came off that Super Bowl where they didn't use him. There's a lot of ambiguity. People kept ranking him number one. Kind of went around 1 or 2 overall. So I did a video on YouTube 10,000 times. I basically just came on and said, no Todd Gurley, no Todd Gurley, no Todd Gurley 10,000 times. And it didn't get received well by a lot of people. A lot of people thought it was funny. Some people are like, I'll come back in an hour. I can't sit through this for 2 hours, 2.5 hours. This year I might do one again. It's going to be in a positive sense because the negative type of video doesn't, it just drives people nuts. It's probably going to be on Burrow. Burrow is the biggest steal of fantasy football 2022 here at 5.1. And this is early. Like he's going to go in the 6th and 7th round now because Hurts is climbing. Trey Lance is climbing. They're both climbing above him. So now Joe Burrow on average is falling into the 6th round, maybe even late 6th round. And he could be the number. I'm not saying he's my number one. Herbert's my number one, but he could be the number one quarterback in fantasy football. He could throw for 44, 45 touchdown passes in 2022. And he's getting better. He was coming off of a torn ACL last year, his first year back. And he tore his ACL like in week 10. It was late in the season. He had a struggling year early on as he's trying to weather through that and still drop fire numbers. And Jamar Chase is getting better. Higgins is getting better. The offensive line's improving. The defense is going to get better. So this could win leagues. Joe Burrow around 6'7" is the best pick in fantasy football 2022. So that's why I'm going to probably do a video on that Joe Burrow 10,000 times is a Joe Burrow awareness video.
Last team 112.
Last team. So Breezy, ultimately, I love the team. I think you're definitely in the top 5 or 6 for sure.
Got you.
Mixon, Adams, Akers, ETN, Rodgers, Cooper, Hawkinson, Godwin, Dubs. I like it. The only thing is I'm not a big Akers believer, but ETN was a steal at 4.1. Absolute steal. Akers, I don't trust because I hate to break it to people, but there's never been a running back in the history of the NFL that has ever returned to or become a top 15 running back after tearing their Achilles tendon. Ever. It's not an ACL. People mix up ACL and Achilles all the time. People say Adrian Peterson, that was an ACL. Completely. ACL's in the knee. Meniscus. I'm sorry. Achilles is in the back, like above the heel and below the calf. And this is the prison tattoo. This is the prison injury. This is where they shank your Achilles so you never walk again in prison without a limp. This is that injury. This is the prison injury that takes your, so, there's always going to be an outlier. There's always going to be a player that beats the odds. And I know he came back and played 6 months recovered, but he looked awful. He was the least efficient running back in the entire National Football League coming back from that Achilles in the games played. He got gobbled up. He had no explosion. This is year 1 coming back from it. This is not year 2. Just because he came back last year for a couple games, he is 12 months, 1 calendar year removed from tearing his Achilles tendon. This is year 1. It will take him time. And the problem with running backs is the door is not open to a starting job for multiple years. This is a 2 or 3 year recovery process. Even if he gets on the field, doesn't matter. His likelihood of re-injury or injuring something else with the leg injury, he computer picked Akers, but it's okay. A lot of people are taking him in the 3rd and 4th round. It's understandable. I get the excitement, and the Rams actually have a good strength of schedule for running backs and pass catching running backs. So, but it's already being reported that he and Henderson are probably looking at a split.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's an avoid for me until like, if you said, hey, what are the odds? Again, back to the roulette table. Could it be the same odds as like, hey, you could put it on thirds, on the roulette table and maybe, land it. Sure. But are you going to really risk that with your third drafted player? I say don't. There's a chance. Sure. But maybe he stays healthy all year and he gets better as he goes along and he gets unlocked in like week 8. It's possible. But I'm going to take some of these other guys that look like guaranteed locks. Give me ETN over Akers and you got both of them. But that's the only thing on that team that I would stay away from.
All right, that is going to do it. That is the fantasy football mock draft brought to you by Breezie, Smitty, and myself. Smitty, before we get out of here, give us, you've dropped so much knowledge, so many gems tonight. Give the people one thing that they should be looking forward to or one thing that they should avoid, one thing that they should keep at the front of their minds when they're going through their fantasy football drafts.
Just ask yourself, can this player outperform this draft slot? Because if you're drafting Cam Akers, like as an example, in the middle of round 3 or Leonard Fournette at the top of round 3, like what is the ability for this player to explode from the draft value? Like Burrow can explode from 6.1. St. Brown can explode from 7.1 or 6.5. Those are the things you want to ask yourself. But I would say, and I know Breezy, you don't like him, but Swift, Jamar Chase, and I love Najee Harris. These are Jefferson. These are guys in round 1 that I absolutely love.
I think Najee is going to be my favorite piece, my favorite running back this year. He's going to get the boatload of just about everything. He can catch out of the backfield. He's going to be the running back. Like, he's just going to be the guy. A lot of people are going to draft that Jonathan Taylor. So if I'm picking 11 and I see Najee on the board, that motherfucker is mine. Mine.
And he's falling to like 10.
I don't get. It's because other positions are getting picked, though, right? So
it's because Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
the people are worried about Pittsburgh, but they proved last night that they can move the football. Pickett looked pretty good, and if he's not good, Trubisky's going to be. You have 2 options. This is why the Jets are going to be okay, because I'm not saying they're making the playoffs or anything. I'm saying that you've got productivity potential. You got 2 quarterbacks, Mike White, Zach Wilson. If one doesn't work, they have another option. They got 2 options. And there's not a lot of teams that have that ability to at least do that. Ritter, Mariota, at least you got 2 options. So I'm not saying the Jets are going to explode, but the fact that they got 2 options, Pittsburgh has Pickett and Trubisky, it should get worked out. The ball should move down the field. Najee was very inefficient last year, and that wasn't his fault. He was averaging like 3.9 to 4.1 yards per carry. He's a 4.7, 4.5 yard per carry running back. If you know what you're looking at, it's not his fault. But he gets so much volume that he made up for it. And so you don't want that year in and year out, or he's going to break by year 3. But if he can get 4.4 yards per carry now, and they improve the offensive line a little, and I think the quarterback play will improve, and Pickens will be a nice addition. I think you should average 4.4 yards per carry, and then you can dial back the number of carries and get to the same number. Round 2, I'm going to say the best 2 picks in round 2, Debo and Javonte Williams. Debo and Javonte Williams are the best picks in round 2. Because you're asking me if I could give any advice, I would say that. I would say AJ Brown and in round 3, AJ Brown. And then round 4, I'd say Breece Hall, ETN, and
you think ETN falls all the way to round 4?
You what?
You think ETN falls to round 4?
Well, he went at 4.1 in this mock.
I'm just saying. I mean, that's with us. I'm just talking about
I don't know.
Because I was definitely trying to scoop him up earlier. But I wanted to make sure I secured my my wide receivers.
So I feel like some people may still be scared because of the ACL injury. So he's coming back and he's healthy now. But I know you're not, but some people might be, which is why you could see him maybe falling into that late 3rd, early 4th. Because it'll be his first year back.
Etienne didn't have an ACL injury; he had a Liz Frank foot injury.
Yeah.
It wasn't ACL. Oh, I thought he tore his ACL. Okay.
No. James Robinson is the big reason people are scared of Etienne, because these reports are coming out that James Robinson's running with the ones, that James Robinson's looking good.
Look who I snatched up in my joint, though. You see where I got him?
Well, I saw you grab him.
I got him in the 9th round.
Hold on. That's what people are saying, not what I'm saying, Breezy.
No, but listen, James Robinson, Who was with them last year? Remember who was their coordinator or something? He was terrible. Or was the coach?
Well, I mean, Urban Meyer destroyed that team. He set him back obviously a whole year, but James Robinson had the Achilles injury, the same injury that I'm talking about with Akers.
He did.
And I know a lot of people are saying he looks good. He looks good, not in contact. You know, Sermon looked good and he looked horrible in the game. Like we can't, and that was some of that was Sermon getting gobbled up. It wasn't like his fault necessarily, but I'm just saying we can't take guys in shorts and say, oh, they look great. They're cutting out there. James Robinson is going to have a lot less explosion. And not to mention, I'm not worried about James Robinson doing even well. Like that's fine. I'm actually inviting that because guess what ETN is? ETN's Alvin Kamara. ETN's not a workhorse running back. ETN might not rush for 1,000 yards.
Good
but
point.
that's okay because he's a 900 and 900 type of guy, or an 800 and 900, or 900 and 800. So there's room for James Robinson. If James Robinson doesn't do it, Snoop Connor's got to do it. Somebody's got to take on a boatload of work. They may even look like a first-team running back at times because ETN's a wide receiver half the time. So ETN is going to explode. James Robinson has no correlation to whether ETN's going to the moon or not. It has no relation whatsoever. So, but I'm not saying James Robinson isn't a good pick where you got him Breezy. Maybe he stays healthy and gets touchdowns and such. But I certainly caution anybody from expecting a Achilles tendon tear player at the running back position, because you got Durant, you got other sports and positions that can handle it and they can come back and become good. The reason the running back position is so brutal is because everything I described earlier as to why the position is dying at 26, 27 years old. You have, when you're, I don't know if you guys can reach back and you can grab your Achilles like gently. It's right above your heel. It feels like a cord.
That jump pops, man.
It feels like a cord. If that thing snaps in half, it is not something that you just, when you put it together, that you can come out and just get that explosion back. And it takes a full, like look at Donta Foreman and Marlon Mack. Those are our two examples of Achilles returns, and neither one of them, like Donta Foreman came in and spelled Christian McCaffrey and looked pretty good when McCaffrey went down, but it took him like 50 years to get back. You know what I'm saying? Like the job's just not waiting for you.
I got a guy. I'm glad you brought that up. Well, you like listen. So one of my sleepers, Chuba Hubbard, however you say his name.
Chuba.
Because when McCaffrey was out, that boy kept me alive. I'm telling you right now. He's gonna go low. He might not even get drafted. You see, he didn't even get drafted in our 12.
He didn't. What are your Smitty? What are your thoughts on Chuba? And should somebody who drafts McCaffrey double up and try to get Chuba later on?
I see where you're going, bro.
So I don't mind it, but the problem is Donta Foreman's also there. And Donta Foreman is the guy that stepped in. And so ultimately, if McCaffrey went down, I think they'd use a committee between the two. And then if one separated, like Chuba's good. Like he's a really good player. I liked him a lot coming out of college.
It's waiver wire guy then.
So it just depends. He didn't exactly step up when he was given the opportunity last year and do a ton with it. He did okay. But Donta Foreman did do well. And he's, like I said, he's our best example of an Achilles tendon return. But it took him years. It didn't take him 1 or 2. It took him years to get back to this stage. And it's surprising that he's even in the league. That's why Achilles tendons are it's just a tough position. Like I said, if you reach back and feel that. So real quickly, reach back and feel your Achilles tendon. Just move your foot a little bit, like left to right. Just move your foot from left to right. You can feel that thing moving. You can feel that thing moving, right?
Yeah.
It's just the tightness of it. When you're a running back and you're running between the A gap and the B gap and you're getting hit, you know, when you're in a car and you're in the passenger seat and the person driving like a maniac, they're hitting bumps and you're like just going all over the place. Mm-hmm. And you look at the driver and they got their hands on the wheel and they're just moving with the bumps. Like the running back position, I like to think of it like you don't know what's happening. You can't control your movements. You're running between a gap and you're getting hit left and right. And so your Achilles tendon is being just forced to just fire off and you have no control over it. And that's the difference between like a wide receiver and a running back that has total control over their movements. They know what to expect. That is so hard on the Achilles tendon. And that's why a running back they need that explosion. You need it more than a basketball player. You need it more than a cornerback. You need it because you can even when a wide receiver gets older, they can play smarter and figure out how to stay relevant. When you're a basketball player like Jordan, you don't have the explosion anymore. Developed a shot and became the best shooter in the NBA. There's almost like two different players, the dunking Jordan and the shooting Jordan. With running backs, they have no other place to go. If they lose their explosion, they're done. And so that's why it's such a, everyone asks me, or when I say running backs with a torn Achilles tendons never recover, they say, what about Kevin Durant? And I just said, what did I just say? Running backs never recover. What about, this wide receiver that, it's running backs. It's running backs for a reason. And that shelf life is so short. That's why you never see them recover. So in conclusion, the last thing I'll say is that in a rebuttal to my stance, we've never had a running back have the job opening still there for them, though, and be young enough. So Cam Akers has an opportunity. But again, it comes back to that roulette wheel. Is it at best betting on, it's not even betting on, red or black. It's betting on not even thirds. It's probably betting on like 4 numbers on the roulette wheel and spinning it. And you have a shot, sure. But why take that shot at third round value in a fantasy draft? That's kind of my point with Akers.
Gotcha. Guys, stay away from running backs that have had Achilles tendon injuries. Don't draft them. That's the biggest thing you can get from this show. All right. Don't draft running backs. Just running backs. According to Smitty.
True.
We got a super chat contribution real quick. John V, let's effing go. Smitty, it's always a pleasure to watch you break it down. Truly a master. Mose and my brother Breezie, you fellas crushed it with this episode. So much great fantasy knowledge, all summed up. I'm actually kind of mad we did this show, Mose, because we got the nitty-gritty Niners fantasy draft, and everybody's going to go make sure they watch this show on who not to draft. God dang, I want to win the belt, Smitty.
Do it for the people. You do it for the people.
We do it for the people, man. We got to listen.
Win that fucking belt. That's why I do it.
It'll be a little bit harder for us, but we'll be able to get it done and have a good time with everybody that's joined the Nitty Gritty Fantasy Football League. Breezy, final thoughts, and we can get on up out of here, bro.
Hey, man, Smitty, you're always it's always a pleasure to have you on here, man. And I wish you would come on more often because you just I don't want you to ever feel some type of way when you're on here. We want you to talk because I want to shut up, and I'm taking notes. So I'm verbatimly typing everything you said. I've been getting really good at quoting. So if you see some quotes out there, you'll know it came from this show. But now,
you guys know a lot too. So it's not, I mean, there's a lot about the game that you guys bring to the table too, that I like to listen to you guys. And that's how Raj and I met. That's how Raj and I met our set 49ers, because I'm reaching out to people on the ground inside different communities. And when I first reached out to him, I wanted to get insider Niner information. I wanted to be as close to that situation to help my people out. So you guys have value that other people don't have because you're embedded in it. You can only consume so much information. And when you're focalized on one team, you're going to hear it quicker. You're going to have better knowledge. So I lean on you guys, for a lot of the Niner information too. So it goes both ways. You guys are awesome. I appreciate your stuff. And I got to have you on my show sometime. I go live whenever news breaks on my YouTube channel, no matter what.
No
matter what. I walk in, I fire the studio up. I tell Ziggy, studio off.
I'm glad.
I tell him to fire it up.
Ziggy, studio on.
Here, I don't care if I'm on my bathrobe.
It doesn't work for me.
What?
Ziggy, studio on.
Here, do it a little louder. Go.
Ziggy, studio on.
Try it one more time.
Ziggy, studio on.
I think you're screaming at him. He doesn't.
Sorry, Ziggy.
Try a little calmer.
Ziggy, studio on.
One more time.
Ziggy, if you don't turn this motherfucking studio on,
he's definitely not going to do it now.
he is worthless. He's we make fun of him on the show because he works about, I don't know, 25% of the time. He works about it. The odds of him working are less than Cam Akers having a top 5 running back. He's literally, he's worthless. Watch this. Watch this. Ziggy, who's the starting quarterback for the 49ers?
Here is what I found. The starting quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers is Jimmy Garoppolo.
Fuck! He's worthless, bro.
Ziggy, you're fired. You're fired, Ziggy.
My bad. Ziggy, My bad. I'm
he's
sorry, guys.
he's worthless. But anyway, my point was when he's working, I walk and I go, Ziggy, studio on. There, he worked. And I go live. I go live. So I don't care if it's a contract. I don't care if it's a trade. I don't care if it's a rumor that I need to shoot down. If people are DMing me about it, you guys know the feeling, right? If something's big enough, you're getting enough DMs. Even if it's garbage, even if the report's like, hey, Trey Lance looks awful right now in practice, but you're getting DM after DM after DM, it's important enough to address. I don't care if it's a rumor I need to shoot down. I come in here, I go live. My point is, I would love for you guys to jump on if you're around. I know you got your own shows to do, but if there's anything Niner breaking, just know I'm live and you can DM me and say, let me get in and talk about this. And I'd love to have you guys come in and give your 2 cents on a breaking Niner situation.
Appreciate the invitation, bro. I'm there. We're there. You just call it. You got the number, text. We there. Send the link. Put the link in the text. I'm clicking on it wherever I am.
Let's fire Ziggy.
Ziggy's cool for you. Ziggy Small's the illest when it comes to you. I don't know if something's wrong with your internet or what, but Jimmy Garoppolo is not the starting quarterback for the 49ers.
Yeah, no, he doesn't know. He literally is behind on the times. But you know, whatever.
Unprogram him, reprogram him, do something, man. Come on, Ziggy.
It's not like a charity thing. We keep him around, give him a job, but he is worthless half the time. But he's become a part of the show, and people love that he's wrong about everything.
Listen. Everybody, do us a favor, right? First, I want you to do 2 things for me. All right. I don't ask for much. I'm lying. I ask for everything. But this is the only 2 things I'm asking for tonight. All right. Number 1, I need you guys to go ahead and follow the Fantasy Football Show with my brother Smitty on all the platforms. YouTube, give it a subscribe, give it a like, comment. Instagram, do the same thing. And let's big up his Twitter, y'all. Let's get his Twitter popping, yo. He's out here putting out NFL news. He's an analyst. He's an analyst for the NFL. I need y'all to do that right now. Second thing I need y'all to do, can we give my brother Mose a round of applause? This is the first time Mose has had me on his show. I'm giving him a round of applause whether y'all do it or not. I think so. It's the first time I've been on a Mose Knows show, and I'm so freaking happy.
I think I've always been on the Wayne Breezie show. I don't think you've ever been on.
I need everybody. I
appreciate it, man.
They mamas, they daddies, they cousins, they uncles, they brothers, they sisters, and their roommates to subscribe to the What Mose Knows channel right here on YouTube. He's doing big things. Big things are popping. And this is what I would like from you two. So, Smitty, I'm going to ask you for a favor. Mose is my NFL analyst. This is the guy that I go to. He has all the scoop, the news. I want you guys to work together more, bro.
Okay.
Like, I would love for that to happen, and I'll sit there and watch it and put it out and promote it. Because, you know, take him under your ropes, bro. This kid Mose has an air and a knack for just the league, and I love everything that he's doing. So, guys, please make sure you go ahead and give Mose a follow and big up his Twitter, guys. Get this guy. First of all, why are we not verified yet? Like, what do we got to do to get verified, Smitty? You should be verified. Like,
Breezie, I was on the longest running fantasy football radio show in the world for
that's what I'm saying.
19 straight years. I don't know. They don't. I don't know what they require, but I gave up even worrying about it. You know, when it happens, it happens. On YouTube, I think you have to be above like 100K to even get a consideration on YouTube. But on IG, I don't know what they want. You know, there's I don't know what it is. I have no idea. I've asked them before, and they just send me a response. You are not. How do they respond? Go ask Ziggy. I don't know. That's what IG tells me.
We'll leave it up to Ziggy, guys. We'll leave it up to Ziggy.
Listen,
take us home, bro.
Love and appreciate everybody that tuned in. Smitty, we appreciate you as always. My brother Breezie, love you always. Everybody who tuned in, thank you so much. Like, comment, and subscribe on all channels. Guys can connect with us on our social media channels. Y'all know, y'all reach out to us. We reach out to y'all. We keep it love, keep it family. Getting excited for more NFL football. We got more training camp, more preseason coming up. So just stay tuned to all 3 of our networks for your daily NFL news. That's it. That's going to wrap up this show, and we'll see y'all next time.
Real quick on the 49ers tip. They had a very light practice today. No pads, very quick, very light. And that's the latest update on the 49ers. Just to put that out there.
We knew that because we got what 3
He
games
got
in 12
3
days that
games.
Kyle talking about.
Yeah.
So
Hey,
he's doing right by the players.
I just want everybody to know that the copyright's pending on this, by the way, so nobody get cute. Trey Lance, king of the NFC, that came from me. And there's a lot of people that say it now. Mostly Niner by Nature has been the one. I'm sure you guys know Niner by Nature.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Niner by Nature goes into every single Niner
Everyone.
show and drops it. And so people are starting to say it now. So once that becomes known, we need to make sure people know where that came from and try and collect some royalties on that.
That's Smitty.
Yeah.
Smitty
Hey,
all day.
Miss Debbie's in here. Miss Debbie, can you clip that for us? So if you clip that for us, and then we'll circulate that through all of our social medias.
I started hearing it
Trey
on
Lance. What is it? Trey Lance, king of the NFC?
Yeah, because people, here's the thing. I went on the quad box, RSF 49ers quad box, where you think you'd be with friends, right? And I go in and I say, Trey Lance is king of the NFC. And they're like, come on, you get a little out of you get a little carried away. And I'm like, no. He's king of the NFC. And this is when Aaron Rodgers might retire, Tom Brady might retire. So I was, pumping it out there because he was going to be that lone guy, I thought. And I still believe it to be true. And I don't think anybody's laughing at it now. Like they were laughing at it earlier.
You know why they're not laughing at it, bro? It's like you saw it. Like a lot of us knew that Trey Lance just needed the opportunities. Now people are starting to see it. They're starting to be wowed by it. And the national media is like, oh, shoot, we might be wrong about this kid, right? They still put the might in there. But I like the fact that you went out on a limb. You saw something in him and you said this kid is going to be the king of the NFC before he played any downs in the NFL. And that's what's most important. Stand on that ground, bro. Don't ever come off of it.
And that's the whole thing about trying to be ahead of the curve. Again, I miss stuff all the time. I'm not trying to sit here and pat myself in the back. You miss stuff all the time when you're in the prediction business. To be 75% accurate on a season would be an unbelievable season. That's a good season. You're going to miss 25% minimum of everything you talk about. I throw thousands of things out a week, but yeah, that one right there. It's like I said, lonely place to be ahead of the curve. But Trey Lance is going to make people. This is like Mahomes. So I came out and I said Mahomes is going to be the next, elite Peyton Manning, but different version of him, obviously runs and stuff like that. And that was not received well, at the time. And people forget very quickly. Trey Lance will be the guy where people say he's the next Trey Lance. And then if you're like, you can't say that. Well, yeah, you said it about Trey. Why can't I say it about this guy? So it's like the whole same song and dance. But a lot of people need to see it before they accept it. I go on a Rombo show a lot. To crash that and not in a negative way, but just to go on. Rombo likes me coming on, but when I go on Rombo, I just blast him, gently, and everybody in there is like, Smitty, how is Smitty a bigger Trey Lance fan than you, Rombo? And so I go in there and I remind him, I'm here for my weekly reminder to you, Rombo, that Trey Lance is the best quarterback you're gonna ever, you've ever seen, and and I definitely overdo it a little bit on a show, but he just sits there and goes, yeah, well, we'll see. And I'm like, you still have Jimmy G in your background, Rombo.
He took that down, man. Thank you, Smitty.
Finally took it down, but he's like, we're gonna wait and see. And so anyway, it's I've been trying to do my damage, trying to let people know, and that's why they call me Trey Lance's agent, on the show.
It's all Gucci.
Yeah,
it's all Gucci. Now, Mose doesn't know this, but Mose is going to grade everybody's fantasy draft, and he's going to make sure he at you. So don't forget to email Mose right here. Mose is like, I am. Email Mose, what.mose.knows@gmail.com, and he's going to give you his draft grade on all the contestants that drafted today. This was pretty cool. We might have to do this We might have to do this on Sunday and see if it kind of like pans out every different. Do one every Sunday. I kind of like it.
We could definitely do another one. I'm game.
We could change it up too. This was PPR, so Smitty, you could come up. If this time works. This time doesn't always work for me. I apologize, but it should work for the next couple of Sundays. But if you can change up, like from PPR to like regular, standard, whatever, I don't know. We'll figure it out off the air. But if this is something you guys want to see, man, let us know in the email address what.mose.knows@gmail.com, and we'll continue to bring you that fire content. Mose, let's go home, baby.
Let's go. I mean, we said all we needed to say. Love and appreciate y'all. We'll catch y'all next time. Y'all be easy.